I am Jimmy Ripp, the original Mac Daddy, the OG, the heat machine, the straw that stirs the drink. Welcome to the Raw review. So Raw starts out with a nice mariachi band and a dancer for Alberto Del Rio as the Royal Rumble winner, which I'm okay with, but I would have much preferred to have seen Wade Barrett, or quite frankly, I actually would have loved, as dumb as it would be, I would have loved to have seen Santino Marella pull that off. For those of you that didn't see the Royal Rumble, you can view my review of it, my report of the Royal Rumble on my channel. Anyway, Alberto Del Rio comes out in a $150,000 Mercedes that he apparently bought in celebration of his Royal Rumble victory. He comes out, he talks about who he's going to pick. Here comes The Miz, here comes Edge, both of them wanting to know what his decision is going to be. And of course The Miz making up a bunch of stories that Edge was calling this, calling that, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Anyway, Del Rio decides to pick Edge. Edge slaps him and forces The Miz out of the ring. Del Rio nails Edge with a vicious guitar shot over the arm and then slaps on his submission hold. You know, starting to build their storyline toward WrestleMania. It was a good beginning. Del Rio is just unbelievable as a heel. I can't believe how much heat the guy gets. I mean, my first match when I debuted, people wanted to kill me. But that was because I was a 140-pound sack of shit who was sitting there telling them I was better than them. It makes it a little easier to get heat when you have that kind of size and have a mouth that's 3 times as big as your body. Anyway, then you gotta love Jerry Lawler and his reference to the famous Christopher Walken skit about needing more cowbell. He said the mariachi band needed more cowbell. That was priceless. Jerry Lawler, I love you. You're so fucking funny. It's unreal, man. I can't ever get enough of Jerry Lawler's little quips. So, on with the rest of Raw review. So then, Michael Cole gets to do his little bit with the anonymous Raw GM, the thing that he jerks off to when he watches it later about himself. The Raw GM makes a 7-man Raw Rumble to decide who's going to face The Miz at Elimination Chamber. Apparently, the Elimination Chamber format has changed now. It used to be the champion with 5 other challengers, and whoever survived got the belt. I love the fact that they changed that, because I just stated recently that I hate the Elimination Chamber being before WrestleMania, because it almost seemed like you were guaranteed 2 new champions. Now it seems like the champions are going to defend the title, and the Elimination Chamber, I guess, is going to decide new #1 contender after WrestleMania. I don't know. They didn't really say that. But the participants are the usuals: Sheamus, thru, John Morrison, John Cena, Randy Orton, and then a twist in it, they got Jerry Lawler in it. So that ought to be interesting to see later. I'll get to that part. And of course Michael Cole throws his little fit about how Lawler has to be in the spotlight again, and I can see them building it. I hope that I'm right. I see them building it towards WrestleMania, a match between Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler. So Jerry Lawler gets to kick the shit out of him, whoop his fucking ass, and we all get to live through his eyes. I hope he stretches his little punk ass. Michael Cole ain't never had to step in the ring for nothing before, and I would love to fucking stretch him myself. And I ain't but 180 pounds and ain't much of a shooter, but I guarantee you I'd twist a couple limbs off that little fuck. Anyway, so after that, the tag team title match comes on, and it's Santino and Kozlov versus the New Nexus. When are they gonna come up with a fucking name for them? So anyway, the tag team titles are coming up next, and it's the New Nexus and Santino Marella. So that match comes up. There wasn't really much to report on the match itself, but Kozlov and Marella retain the titles. I guess his comedy is just way too over to even give up, you know. Anyway, they hold on to the belts. Santino is so funny, and the Cobra, let's face it, the Cobra is probably the most devastating finisher in wrestling right now. You know, for a guy that in his first 2 weeks in training got slapped around by Jim Cornette. Santino Marella's come a long way. But, interesting footnote to that match. Randy Orton hits the ring, RKO's Husky Harris and McGillicuddy, leaves him laying out cold in the ring, and just stands there, just evil. So, obviously they're building to CM Punk against Randy Orton for WrestleMania, I would hope, and I think that would be an excellent match. I'd love to see a nice, stiff, solid match between the two of them. But that's the Tag Team Championship, and then the aftermath. Now, after the RKOs, in one of the most brilliantly performed segments I've ever seen, ever, Randy Orton appears as though he's going to punt Husky Harris in the head and put him out of wrestling. And CM Punk comes out to try and talk him out of it. And just the motion that Randy made towards the right half of the crowd, and then the left half of the crowd when Punk pleaded with him to not do it. Randy Orton gets it. And I mean all of it. Better than anybody in wrestling. Period. In my opinion. I mean, you got to combine the flamboyancy and charisma of some of the greats, you know, and the psychology of guys like Jake the Snake. Now, I like him or not, Jake the Snake, in his prime, got it and knew how to use it. And he could pick one person in the crowd and burn a hole right through him when he stared at him. He was unbelievable. Randy Orton gets it, and that was one of the most brilliantly performed segments I've ever seen. And Randy Orton did in fact punt Husky Harris in the head. So anyway, back, I just can't get over that. That was just such a great, just a phenomenally performed, excellent, god damn it, man, Randy Orton is the shit. Back to the rest of Raw. So in the next segment, $1 Million, the prodigal, privileged son, whatever, Ted DiBiase comes out and, a long story short, tells Jerry the King Lawler that he should give up his spot to him because he's the future and Lawler's the past, blah, blah, blah. Argument ensues. Michael Cole jumps up and starts his stupid shit. And then Lawler steps in and, you know, tells Michael Cole he's going to put him in his place. Again, building towards that match at WrestleMania. Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole. God, I hope. Jerry Lawler speaks about how he's never had a WrestleMania match and wants his opportunity tonight. Anyway, when he tells DiBiase no, DiBiase shoves him. He goes to hit DiBiase. DiBiase puts Maurice in front of him. Maurice gets pissed off, turns around and smacks DiBiase in the face and walks away. And then Lawler knocks out DiBiase. And then Michael Cole throws a temper tantrum about Lawler always wanting to steal the spotlight.